You are welcome here. No, really, you are. But how would you know that you're welcome? And how does welcome show? And why does that matter? Hi, I'm Stuart and I get to be the minister here at St Ninian's Church in Stonehouse. We're so glad that you've chosen to join us today and we hope that you find our time together helpful. If you do, then please invite others by liking and sharing. We'd love to hear from you, so if you're watching on video on Facebook or our YouTube channel, then please say hi in the comments.
Matthew chapter 10 verse 40 to 42. Whoever welcomes you welcomes me, and whoever welcomes me welcomes the one who sent me. Whoever welcomes a prophet in the name of a prophet will receive a prophet's reward, and whoever welcomes a righteous person in the name of a righteous person will receive the reward of the righteous. And whoever gives even a cup of cold water to one of these little ones in the name of a disciple, truly I tell you, none of these will lose their reward.
Unlike the national team, the Tartan Army has excelled again. Their tactics of friendly invasion charms and bemuses and delights their hosts wherever they go. Boston and Glasgow are twinned now because of the antics of kilted hordes placing cones and statues and raising thousands for a children's hospital, for homeless charities, and for drinking all their beer. It's interesting to see how other countries do it. The Dutch have it sussed. You should look them up on social media. They do this left-right thing. It's hilarious and absolutely fantastic. I love it. The Norwegians have been rowing wherever they go. You've seen them rowing up Times Square, and they were doing it at the golf last night, which was brilliant. All these Norwegians turned up in their strips and followed Victor Hovland all the way around the course going, it's brilliant. Love it. The Brazilians bring their samba. The Japanese leave everywhere tidier than they found it. It's not that way for every group of fans, though. It seems that perhaps that's something to do with confidence about identity, or an outlook that sees competition as more important than cooperation. Some fans don't get on well with others. On a personal level, we all know that meeting new people can be hard. I've had to really practice at that. I don't like going to places where I don't know anyone. I get really anxious and I often leave early. The way our world works has led to more and more separation between us. Social isolation is one of the biggest problems that our society faces. And that was a massive problem even before we all got locked in our houses for a year. Our way of living has promoted loneliness. That, of course, is perhaps unintentional, but the way that we live causes us to live more and more separate lives. And that can have really serious consequences for our mental health, for our well-being, and for our society, I think. We don't know each other in the way that we used to. And we need to be realistic about that. We all know that it can be really difficult to welcome a stranger. There are risks. There can be awkwardness. There can even be fear in that. We don't like to welcome people we don't know into our homes. And that's all true and that's all valid. It reminds me of one of my favourite jokes. You know how people used to give lifts to hitchhikers? So somebody stops, the hitchhiker gets in the car and they're driving along and the hitchhiker says, "Are you not scared that I'm a serial killer?" And the guy says, "What's the chances there'd be two of us?" This highlights a problem for the church though, doesn't it? For the most part, we expect that people will come. We organise stuff, events and services, and we hope that people will come. And sometimes they do. And that's brilliant. And very occasionally, people will invite their friends. But often that happens for the fun stuff, like Christmas and perhaps significant events like Remembrance. Some people come to church on a Sunday, some people join online, but we're not always great at inviting other people. And that's a huge problem for the church, because around 80% of people who come to church come because someone they know invited them to come. 80%. That's huge. That's a massive amount in terms of mission. If you want to know why not many people come to church, perhaps we should ask ourselves, when was the last time I invited someone to come with me? We're good at when we know people are coming, aren't we? There's a baptism next week. We'll all put our best foot forward for our visitors. And for the Gala Day service, wasn't it great to welcome people in? We're good at those things. We put our best foot forward. Come on in, sit down, make yourselves comfortable. Do you want another cup of tea? Have some cake. Sorry about the hard wooden benches. But welcoming new people can be really difficult, because when someone arrives at the door, everyone wants something different. Somebody wants 5 people to say hello and shake their hand and take them to their seat, and other people just want to slip in and be left alone. What do? We can be overly friendly, or we can be not friendly enough, and that's hard, isn't it? And there's a risk in asking our pals, like a proper risk. This matters to us, but what if it doesn't matter to them? What if they don't like it? What if they think it's weird? What if they don't behave properly? What if they ask awkward questions? What if they want us to explain what's happening or what he's talking about? What if they want to know what all this means? Like any of us have any idea? What if they judge us because this is important to us and they don't see why? There's a real risk, isn't there, in inviting someone to something that you find important. And that's in real life, where people are standing in front of us and we can have a conversation, we can explain. It's very different online. If we're worried about putting ourselves forward to welcome people in real life, how do we welcome people who lurk? Who watch the YouTube every week but never say? I meet some of them in the co. I watch you on the... What? Do you? The most surprising people for me watch every week. Loads of people meet each other online. More people now get married who met online than met in real life. Did my pal's wedding last week, and they met online. Swiped right. He did. That's important. He did first. Welcoming people can be awkward, but being welcome can be awkward too, can't it? We're supposed to study the story from all angles, so today we're going to do that. We've only got 2 verses. I wonder if it occurred to you, or what you thought, who are you in the story? Are you the person who's been sent? Because that's who we usually identify with, isn't it? We're the people that Jesus sends because we're here and, we get sent out. But what if we're the other person? What if we're the other person who is the stranger? The one who doesn't know anyone? The one who's turning up? The one who's wondering how they fit into all of this? Or not? And it's maybe odd that we didn't even consider that that was the possibility in this story for us, because Jesus is sending out disciples. Because the disciples are the strangers in the story. They're the ones who go to people they don't know. They go to villages where everyone knows each other, and they're the strangers who walk into that story. They're the ones who will be listened to or not, accepted or not. So I wonder why it is that we don't necessarily identify with that part of the story. On any other day, I think I would have been off down Disciple Street, thinking about how we're sent out, thinking about how we are asked to go and spread the good news with friends and neighbours and how we might do that, and the words that we might use and the message that we might focus on. How can we tell people who have very little experience of church and who don't know the stories of the Bible, how do we tell them about Jesus? How do we do that in a way that's not patronising or just weird or not very interesting? Jesus tells us that the disciples, some will welcome them. Some of them will be able to bring God's message to other people. I wonder if there's a question about identity here. It's really easy to spot the Tartan Army. They wear a uniform. A Scotland top, a kilt, and a pair of trainers. I know a guy who went to Italy for the World Cup in a Scotland top, a kilt, a pair of trainers, and took his wallet and his passport. That was it. What else would you need? Although I saw a guy the other night saying you need 2 kilts, one for drinking, one for other occasions. People recognise each other by the things that they wear. Our bagpipes help, don't they? I wonder who people recognise us as, because we don't have a uniform. I don't even wear mine very often. Well, they'd recognise us as followers of Jesus. And if they do, how do we feel about that? Because there's a risk with that. A risk that that's our identity. Because our identities are confused and varied. In some places we're some things, and in other places we might be different things. And later on in this story, Peter, one of Jesus' closest friends, will deny even knowing Jesus because he's afraid. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. Because that identity is dangerous for him. I wonder when the last time you spoke to someone about your faith was. I wonder when the last time you invited someone to join us was. Because the truth is that we're on both sides of this story, aren't we? We're both the ones who are sent out, but also the ones who are welcomed in. And that can mean being vulnerable, it can mean feeling alone, because the passage isn't just about the one who welcomes, it's about the ones who are sent out, it's about strangers, it's about people who don't welcome other folk, and it's about these disciples who are doing a new thing, and they don't really know what that is. The church is asking itself a really important question at the moment, in its kind of widest sense. What place does a building, like a dedicated church building, one of these, what place does that have in the ongoing mission of your congregation? It's a brilliant question. It's a brilliant question because I have no idea what the answer to that is. I think a building does have a place. I think it's important. But is it any more important than a YouTube channel? Or meeting in the park? Or in another hall somewhere? Would it be the same? Would more people come? My dad used to be the minister in a church that had to close to get the roof fixed, and they met in the village hall, which was 20 yards along the road, and more people came. And then they moved back into the church. And some of those people stopped coming because the hall was more comfortable. It didn't feel like you were going into this big, scary building. It was accessible. It didn't have steps either. It was literally more accessible. Sometimes this is a place that we hide. It's easy to stay inside. Nobody can see in, can they? They can't see what we do in here. We hide behind the big stone walls and the stained glass windows. We sit in rows and we look at the back of each other's heads. And actually, for this hour, very little is expected of you. You should sing better. And that's it, really, isn't it? I choose everything. I choose the hymns, I say the prayers, I give Norma the reading, and I tell you what you should think. Your job's to, I don't know, pay attention. Sometimes, please. We find ourselves out in the world often. In a world that has different priorities perhaps to the ones that we have. It has loads of problems. Certainly different problems to the ones that we grew up with. We try to look after people. Try to look after the sick and the lonely and the isolated and the bereaved. And we get that wrong sometimes because we're human. But I think there are some serious questions for us all to think about. Questions not just about what this building should be like, but questions about what it means to be the church. Questions about what it means to be the church in our world today. Questions about what part we can play, both as a church and as individuals. The sending out this story starts and ends with, Jesus talks about welcome. And it's the only time that that word is used in Matthew's Gospel. It's the only time Jesus talks about welcome. So it must be important. So who do we welcome? What do we welcome? Do we welcome new ideas? Do we welcome new ways of doing things? Do we welcome strangers? Do we welcome friends? Are we nervous about being welcomed? Do we play our part in welcoming? And what about when we go out into the world and that changes? Who are we out there? Are we caring and supportive and loving? Do we bring a story of hope to our friends and neighbours? Do we talk to people about peace and justice and mercy? Do we tell people about God's grace? I wonder if the church leaving the building would be good news. That's a really difficult thing to say because for so many that's what's happening at the moment, and that's a painful process. For some of you, that's your reality. You've left the place that you worship God in for years and years and years, where you felt welcome and where you belonged. Hopefully you feel welcome and that you belong here. But it's difficult. How do we find a new place in a new space? I wonder how we find a welcome in Jesus. I wonder how we find a welcome to this amazing story that still has the power to transform lives, to change the world. Jesus tells us this is a large work that you've been called into. It's a big thing. It's literally transformative. But it happens one person at a time, one conversation at a time, one relationship at a time. Welcoming one person at a time. So don't be overwhelmed by it, because it can all seem really big. Start small. Look at the things that Jesus tells his disciples to do. When someone gives you a cool cup of water, they welcome the one who sent you. The smallest act, the least that you could do on a hot day, is a true act of welcome. Doing that makes you a disciple. Going and receiving. being sent and being received. I wonder who you'll bring next week. Let's wait and see. Amen.
God of welcome, we thank you that you are always ready, waiting to welcome us, always waiting to spend time with us and hear what we want to bring to you in prayer. This prayer could be an endless list, and there will be situations missed and people escaping our attention, but we know that you are able to see beyond our limited memories and hold all that pains creation with us and for us. We are often so consumed by our own situations that many situations have gone unnoticed. We pray now for those in our world who feel forgotten, for refugees in camps worried about when their lives might take a better turn, for men, women and children behind closed doors living with danger and torment at the hands of people who profess to love them, for people living with life-limiting conditions, relying on reduced levels of care, fearful of catching this virus as they fear the treatment will be limited. For those in the background within caregiving services, the cleaners and janitorial staff, the administrators and managers, doing what is needed to ensure hospitals and care homes run smoothly and safely. For places of conflict where with attention elsewhere dangers are increased and tensions raised, and where deaths continue unheeded. So many places, so many concerns. Lord, thank you that we can bring them to you as we join in the words of the prayer Jesus taught us, saying, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and give